Hey, in this review of the Honda XR200, I'm going to show you what kind of dirt bike this is, why it may or may not be right for you, and what to expect when buying and riding one. So this is just a very simple trail bike, and it has an air-cooled engine, very simple suspension, and just it's low performance, which is fine if you're just starting out because it's a 200cc air-cooled 4-stroke engine. It's super easy to ride. It has super smooth power, and this is really nice for learning how to use the clutch because it has good low-end power, so you don't have to slip the clutch a lot. It's easy to learn on and just super easy to control, which is a lot better than having a high-performance enduro bike to start out on that has a ton of power when you think that, oh, maybe I can grow into the bike, but no, what really happens is you usually just end up doing a wheelie because you're tired and fatigued and can't hang on and you get hurt. So starting on a slower bike is better because it's easier to control and it's actually more fun. I enjoy riding slower bikes than faster bikes most of the time. So moving to the suspension, the forks and the shock, depending on which year you get, are pretty simple. So the 86 to 91 XR200, that had the better suspension because it had more travel, but it was also more adjustable. It had some external compression and rebound damping clickers that you could adjust to your weight just to be a little bit more comfortable. So those years were the best, but they're getting harder to find and they're in rougher shape. So the 92 or 93 and newer, they have a little bit less suspension travel, the seat height's a little bit lower, and there's no external adjustment other than the shock. You can adjust the sag on it, which is important for adjusting the ride height based on your weight if you want proper handling. So the suspension is cheap because Honda wanted an affordable bike for entry-level riders. So if you want better suspension, like I have upgraded suspension on this from a different bike, it's quite a bit of work and a little bit of money, but if you plan on keeping this bike for a while, upgrading the suspension can make this bike last a long time and be actually pretty competitive, even though it doesn't have a whole lot of power if you're trail riding. I've taken this in the mountains and it does really well because it's super easy to ride. The engine is super reliable. Just change the oil, keep the air filter clean, and this thing can last a long time. It's got a nice big gas tank so you can ride lots of miles. It gets good gas mileage. And another thing I like about it is that it's lightweight, especially compared to newer trail bikes. It doesn't have electric start that adds 10 to 15 pounds. The Kickstart is reliable. It's not too difficult to start, especially if you have proper starting technique and when it's jetted properly. It's a little bit lean from the factory, so going a little bit richer on the jetting may help depending on your climate and elevation. But going back to the weight, I think it only weighs about 225, 230 pounds, which may not seem light, but compared to like the CRF 230F, the newer version of this, it's about 25 pounds lighter, which you can feel it. It feels more like an oversized mountain bike with an engine, and it's just more easy to handle. It's easier to pick up if you lay it down. So if you're a shorter rider or you're just not as strong, maybe you're a lady or you're looking one for your girlfriend or wife, this one is a little bit better because it's lighter if you don't mind having no electric start. This is not the right bike for you. The XR200 is not the right bike if you want a fast, high-performance motocross or enduro bike. It just doesn't have the power. It only has about 16 to 18 horsepower in stock form. The suspension is not that great unless you modify it. Overall, it's just not a good race bike. You're gonna have to do a lot of mods to it, which is actually kind of fun. So this is the right bike for you if you want a very beginner-friendly bike, whether you're a teenager or adult, 5'2" to 5'8", or maybe even a little bit taller if you do some mods. So really good for an average to slightly below average height adult or teenager. It's just super easy to ride, and it's also affordable. They're getting harder to find used, but they're fairly cheap, and they're even cheaper to maintain because you don't have to do a whole lot to them. The problem is finding one that's in good shape, because a lot of people take advantage of them being so reliable that they never do anything to them. So they don't change the oil, don't change the filters, so the engine is fried after a couple hundred hours of not doing a whole lot. But other than that, this is an amazing beginner bike, beginner to intermediate level bike if you just do a little bit of tweaking, or for your first bike. You don't even have to touch anything. So if you're looking for a cheap used dirt bike that has kickstart, a little bit lower seat height than most full-size bikes, this is a great choice. Or if you want electric start, you can upgrade or just look for a newer CRF230F, which replaced the XR200. And I actually go through a complete review on the CRF230F right here. You can watch it right here. So what do you think? Does the XR200 sound like a good dirt bike for you? Did you start out on one? I'd like to hear in the comments below. Let me know. This is Kelly Fager from Motocross Hideout. Learn more, ride more, so that you can stay safe and have fun for many years to come.